It's me, Mark and Polly, and if it really wants it, then we bring Nigel in.
Yeah. What about Germany? Because we got a lot of listeners in Germany.
Yeah, well, I've just come back from Germany, did a radio show there.
But tour-wise?
Tour-wise, the last time I toured Germany was with, I was support for Fairport, can you imagine that? It was quite...
you get all the good gigs,
right, quite a drunken rave that was. It was very good, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Well, Bert, thanks a lot for coming along. Here's the final track. I haven't played Avocet particularly because it takes up one side of the album. It's 18 minutes long. And it's very difficult to have a conversation with you, which is interrupted by 18 minutes of music. So I'll save Avocet for another week.
Okay, thank you.
And play the 18 minutes, and we'll come up to the last track of the album now, and you really do play some great guitar work here.
Kittiwake, yes, that's one of my favourite, this one.
Yeah, I got very angry with it when it faded because I wanted to hear more. But let's hear Kittiwake now. Fades, Kittiwake from Bert Jansch's superb instrumental album called Avocet. I got very angry when it faded. I wanted to hear more, Bert.
Yeah, but you know what studio time costs.
I do. Well, Charisma is the label of that one. Class 6, C-L-A-S-S, Class 6 is the number, and it's Bert Jansch's album called Avocet. Superb. And once again, my thanks, Bert, for coming down from Coventry. And anytime you're in the London area and you're around when we're recording.
Yeah, well, it's very pleasant to be here, and it was really nice to be here and talk to you after all these years.
Yeah, maybe sometime, perhaps we'll get an early 60s programme going, and we'll get some of the artists in here. We'll get Remborn and Jackie and a few of the old faces on record and have a talk through the old days.
It might be a bit dangerous.
But thanks once again.
Okay, thank you, Wally.
Well, last week, the last time you dropped in, you had your new album called Avocet, which I was very impressed with. Very little happened with it, in fact, did it?
Well, it was one of those albums that was like made in Denmark and then sold to Charisma and then 6 months later sold somewhere else, and then so it was one of those. I mean, didn't have sort of like sort of world coverage all at once.
Yeah, you know, and it didn't get the impact of having a worldwide release at one time. So you've now left Charisma.
Actually, I'd left Charisma before
the album came out.
Before we did an ABBA set.
Now, presumably, you must be glad to be with Kicking Mule, because it seems to be a very progressive label. Stefan Grossman, who runs it, pops in here regularly.
Yeah, well, I was worried about whether we were going to fit into it, because being sort of like all guitar-based, I was a bit worried about all that, because...
you think too many cooks in the kitchen?
Well, no, they're on a very sort of academic level. The average stuff on that label is like how to play the blues and. I mean,
well, that's the
like
very.
that.
Come on, own up. That's a very old album of theirs, How to Play the Blues.
Well, I know, but all of it's on that level.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, they always provide tablature and stuff with the album.
Yeah, but they do have some good entertainers. George Kritzbach is a good entertainer.
Yeah, right. Well, there are one or two if you want to go through them all. Right.
Yeah.
So, but I was worried that we were going to get into the how to play music like Bert Jansch level, which I don't agree with.
And what was the thought behind forming this group called Conundrum? Did you have any? I mean, was there? You've been in groups. I mean, you come from Pentangle, and you've worked solo. Yeah. You've worked with Martin as a duo.
Well, me and Martin have worked together for 3 years.
Yeah.
We've tried all sorts of combinations of musicians together, and the latest one looks like the permanent one.
Yeah, we've settled on a
4-piece
with Nigel Smith.
Well, I think it works very well, and I was delighted to hear it. Let's hear a track from the album now. And that's a new group called Conundrum, with a piece written by you, Bert, yeah?
Yeah,
linea,
I suppose so, yeah.
Una linea di dolcezza. Martin Jenkins, let's go over to you. How did you arrive at that title? I thought it was a line of sweet.
You say it very well.
Yeah, my father-in-law's Italian, that's why. I speak a little bit of Italian. And what's the origin of the title?
Well, we were touring, Bert and I were touring in Italy last year, and we were staying with some really fantastic people, a little town called Gorizia, which is right in the north. It's right on the Yugoslavian border, and they make very, very fine white wine there. And this Italian fellow poured some wine for us, and he said, "This is very dry wine, it's very nice, with una linea di dolcezza." And I said, "What does that mean?" And it was his way of saying it has a line of sweetness in it, and it just sounded like a very nice title for a tune.
And that's how it arrived there.
Yeah.
Now, you go back a long way, don't you, on the folk scene? Dando Shaft, I think.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
How long ago was that?
That's 1969 that started.
Yeah. And then, of course, we worked together on an album around about 73 when you were doing session work.
That's true, yes.
And then you departed on and went and joined Hedgehog Pie.
Yeah, I did a few writing the music for musicals in theatres for a little while, and then
sounds like a precarious living.
had somebody asked me to join Hedgehog Pie, or to at least do some sessions with them, because a couple of members had left, and they live right up in Newcastle, which is a long way from where I live. So I thought, well, I'd go for a couple of weeks, and I went and had a few knocks with the band. And they said, "Well, man, we played, down the south all the time." I can't do the accent. We played down south all the time. I was with them for about 9 months. We didn't get further south than Sheffield.
In fact, it was a great band that never really came together, did it? It never really happened for that band, and it was a shame. I felt they could have made it,
Yeah, we had our moments. It was, I enjoyed doing that.
Yeah, I felt the albums that they made, could have spent a bit more money on them and got a few more things right.
Yeah.
But you were with a small label, weren't you?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to the album, another track from it. This is Time and Tide. This is another one of yours, Bert.
Time and Time.
Time and Time, sorry.
Yeah.
Automatically saying Time and Tide, I don't know why. Any thoughts before we play it? You got anything to say about it?
Well, from the album, this is my favourite.
Time and Time.
Time after time I think it's true love, like a crazy fool thinking she'll be mine. Time after time I think it's true love, yeah, like a summer rose waiting for the sunshine. But here comes the cold and the frost tonight again. Next time around I'll close my heart, pretend I'm not in love, play hard to get. Oh, next time around, right from the start, I'll say I love another, oh, but yeah, here comes the cold and the frost tonight again. Don't mind the long nights of summer, being alone is alright. But oh, the long dark wind trading, it's been a long and cold frosty night. Been a long and cold frosty night. Time and time again I've been in love, like a summer rose falling for the sunshine. Time and time again I've been in love, like a crazy fool thinking she'll be mine. But here comes the cold and the frost tonight again. Don't mind the long nights of summer, being alone it's alright. But oh, the long dark retreat, it's been a long, cold frosty night. Been a
called Time and Time from the album made by our guest today, and our guests are Conundrum, and the album's on the Kicking Mule, and if you want to take down a number, it's SNKF 162. Kicking Mule SNKF 162. The album's called 13 Down. Why 13 Down, Bert?
There's 13 tracks down.
That was a very simple one. Nigel, what's your background? You're ex-Magna Carta, aren't you?
That's right, yeah. I joined them in 1975, played for a couple of years with them. I got very bored with touring on the continent.
Yeah, because they had hits everywhere but in Britain, didn't they?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And so I was getting involved with Ralph McTell and his music. And so I decided that I would leave Magnus and I concentrate on Ralph's music, which lasted for about a year, I suppose. Yeah.
Now, amazingly enough, the fourth member of the group who's not here today is Loose Language, and Loose is an old buddy of mine I've known probably 14 or 15 years, and he's generally associated with the country movement rather than folk. How did the four of you get together? Because I know you and Martin and you were living in Coventry at the time, Bert.
Yeah.
You're a Londoner, are you, Nigel?
Oh, I'm from Sheffield in Yorkshire.
Luce is a Londoner, well, from Kent. How the four of you arrived together?
It's all my fault, really. It's when I stopped playing with Ralph, I started getting into the country thing. Did a few country gigs, and I met Luce through that, and got involved with playing with a few of the old country, the English country players, like Johnny Young and that kind of thing. It was,
it's a tremendous
Brian
group
Maxine.
sound, isn't it? Brian Maxine, of course,
of course.
It's a tremendous sound. It's what pleases me about it is that, you know, for months now here on Folk Review, we've had Kentigern, Battlefield, Ossian, the Chieftains, Planks. They're all playing great music, but essentially Celtic music, and here we have something that's way away from that, and it's a really together sound, you know.
Yeah, we like the feel of it. It's very, I think it's very British, but it swings along. It's
very tight sound, actually.
Yeah, a little bit jazzy.
Well,
and
we've picked out another track now. This is Sauvé, Bert, and I believe this version you learned from...
Well, I learned it from Sandy Denny.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, there's so many different versions of this one, but I mean, this is one where Luce has like been sort of his initiation into the folk thing rather than the
country thing.
The country thing.
Let's have a look.
it's a hard tune for a drummer.
Sauvé, all on a day. She dressed herself in lingerie, with a brace of pistols on by her side. Meet her true love, always she'd ride.
As she was riding over the plain, she met her true love, and then stand and deliver counsel, she said. And if you do not, your life will have.
He delivered up his golden store, and still she craved for wanting more. That diamond ring that I see you wear, oh, hand it over, and your life I'll spare.
My diamond ring I would not part, for it's a token from my sweetheart. Should have the damn you wrong, said he. You'll be hanged for murdering me.
Next morning in the garden green, young Sauvé and her true love were seen. These parties walked hanging from a clothes, which made them blush, lads, like any rose.
Why do you blush, you silly young thing? I thought to have had your diamond ring. 'Twas I who robbed you all in the flame. So here's your gold, and you won't again.
I only did it for to know if you would be a man or no. If you
Sauve, I never know what it's called, Sauve or Sauve. Take your choice.
I don't know.
there. And that's by Conundrum, my guest today. Thank you very much for dropping in, fellas. I see what you mean about loose language, trying to follow that, because it does have an odd timing about it.
Yeah, some odd bars in it.
Yeah, but he does very well.
Yeah.
Now, by sheer coincidence, Bert, your old mates in Pentangle, John Renbourn and Jackie McShea, have a new album released this week, and you have to get back to your rehearsal, but I wonder if you'd stay long enough to have a quick listen to a couple of tracks. More tracks,
I like
The mix is a strange one, from unaccompanied folk song to 16th century pavan, which is a stately dance of the period. The Indian tabla mixes with recorders, dulcimers and psalteries, and let's hear an instrumental called Le Tambourin from a French ballet. And that's the John Renbourn group playing Le Tambourin. I enjoyed parts of the album, but on the whole I thought it wouldn't find an audience. I thought it was rather self-indulgent and pretty much out of touch, really, with what's going on. Those kind of groups don't seem to get anywhere. They play at these old English feasts, you know. Have you seen these things advertised where you go along and eat an ox or something and listen to a group playing?
Medieval dinners and stuff like that.
Yeah. Any thoughts,
But
Bert?
John does very well in sort of areas where it would go down, like Brittany and odd sort of places like that.
Yeah, I couldn't help but think as I listened to it that I often wondered how you managed to play together in Pentangle, because that is the complete antithesis of everything that you do.
Difficult. I mean, both, like say, the instruments complemented each other.
Yeah,
So I was like very down to earth and very rough with the guitar.
yeah.
And John was the opposite, very delicate and very light. And a sort of a sound man's nightmare, really, to put together. You know.
Now, you've got some nice trips coming up, Martin, haven't you, ahead?
That's true, yes.
Tell us about them, then.
Where we're going on Saturday, we're going to Japan for a while. Then we're going to America, to Australia.
Australia for 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is this
to the
conundrum
States.
are going?
Well, me and Mark do, because of economics,
Yeah.
me and Mark do Australia and Japan. And Nigel will join us in the States for 10 days.
So is this the whole of the summer looms up ahead
Well,
abroad?
it's 2 months.
Well, it's a couple of months, really, that is.
Well, and you're going to have your album released locally over there?
Yeah, it'll be released worldwide. Yeah.
Well, I wish you the best of luck, and thanks a lot. I know you're dying to get back and rehearse, because you don't get a lot of chance to rehearse together, and you're going to do that now
When Martin comes down to town, you see, we've got him.
and pick up your air tickets.
Yeah.
Thanks for dropping in, and good luck with the group, and good luck with the new album, and thanks for dropping
Thanks for it. Yeah.
in. Well, over the past few weeks...
It's the Bert Jansch Conundrum, and the leader of it, Bert Jansch himself. He's joined us in the studio today, and we'll talk to him in just a second. But first, a track off this new album of theirs, Where Did My Life Go? Answers, please, on the back of a £10 note.
Champagne, it flows like water, cocaine like drifting snow. Every night's a crazy party, yes I know, but I can't stop or turn the tide, and my feelings I can't hide. Someone tell me where'd my life go? High living is my weakness, but she hell when I am low. My friends still...
Mule Recording Company, or Record Company. That was Bert Jansch and his Conundrum. And as I say, Bert is with us in the studio right now. A link between traditional and contemporary music. Could you be more specific on that for us?
Well, it's like taking old traditional songs and sort of either rehashing them in a sort of modern way. That's basically all it is.
Traditional songs from where?
Or usually from Britain in my case, or America, if you can call American songs traditional.
Yeah, well, they've been going a couple of 100 years now, so I suppose they've got one or two traditional songs
they
around.
originally came from Britain, which is a funny thing. Yeah.
Where do you pick up these traditional songs, and where do you hear them in the first place?
Well, you hear them in clubs, usually, like going around the folk clubs in Britain, you find old traditional singers and revivalists.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you want to be academic, you could go to Cecil Sharp House and sort of dig them out of the libraries and stuff like that.
Do you ever do that yourself?
Sometimes do, yeah.
You do? Found any goodies down in the vaults there at Cecil Sharp House?
Well, Cara of Kildare, that's... I didn't get that there, but I got that one from Finbar Fury, his singing of it.
Yeah.
But I can't remember the last song I got from Cecil Sharp House.
You must have a whole pile of them by now, I should think, anyway, because you've been playing and singing for a
Yeah,
number of years.
yeah.
Yeah. It's
Well, I've still got quite a few up my sleeve too.
Have you?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. You've got to keep things new, haven't you, as well as playing the old traditional stuff, I suppose, for yourself.
Yeah, I write my own songs and do instrumental stuff as well, which, you know, it's just, you just create that. You can't really call it folk music. You can't really call it jazz or anything. It's just like guitar music.
I got one of your records from a number of years ago with some really fine instrumentation on it, you know. I mean, it's good stuff. Good stuff you've been putting out, Bert, I can tell you.
Thank you.
All right. I know that one of your favourites is this Cara of Kildare, so let's play that.
Oh, the winter has passed, and the summer's come at last, and the small birds are singing in the trees. Oh, the little hearts are glad, ah, but mine is very sad, for my true love is far away from me. Her ribbons I'll wear, and I'll come.
A couple of years ago, that one was laid down from the album A Rare Conundrum. It was the Cara of Kildare, Higora, and the good, moody voice of Bert Jansch. Bert Jansch sounds like a good American name to me. Surprised to hear you speaking English like you do.
Well, actually, it's Austrian. I'm a rare mixture, actually. I was born in Scotland. Born and bred in Scotland, and I've got a London accent, and I've got an Austrian name. So.
Yeah, there's just a touch of the Scottish there still.
Oh, a little bit, yeah.
So one of your parents was Austrian?
No, it's 2 generations prior to that.
Way back when?
Yeah.
So you never go yodeling anyway?
Oh, no, definitely not. I've never even been to Austria.
You've not
so.
been? You should go.
Germany, yeah, many times. But
What about touring plans, incidentally, since we're talking about things abroad? What have you got in mind?
Well, we regularly do the States, at least once or twice a year. We're going back in January. And I've been to Japan a couple of times. So after the States, we're stopping off in Japan again.
Well, let's talk about the States, because I gather folk music isn't as big over there as it used to be.
Well, it is and it isn't. It's like it's a continuous process. I mean, it never sort of grows to the stature of, say, the 60s. But it's still there. It hasn't faded away altogether.
Whereabouts are you going to be playing? Any idea?
All over. I mean, it's practically impossible to say. We usually go to San Francisco, LA. We don't play the middle so much, because the sort of Midwest is a bit strange. It's either the East Coast or the West Coast.
Yeah, the Midwest are more into country music, aren't they, really, I suppose, than folk?
Yeah, they're a bit isolated, believe it or not.
A bit folksy, but not folk.
Yeah, but not British folk. No.
Yeah. But what about Japan, for goodness sake? Now, how are they going to take in British folk music?
It's quite stunning, actually, because the times I've been there before, they can't speak English at all. It's just the guitar, I think. They're so into acoustic guitar.
Well, the way you played the acoustic guitar, I'm not really surprised. Now, you've got a track on the new album, which is called Una linea di dolcezza.
That's right.
Yeah, where you put the voice away for a track and just let the guitar do its job. What does una linea di dolcezza mean?
It means a line of sweetness.
Listen to it. Who else is in the band with you, by the way?
Martin Jenkins is a mandolin player, fiddle player, and Nigel Smith, who's a bass player.
Yeah. How long have you been together?
Well, me and Martin have been together for about 4 years now as a duo, and been playing with Nigel for about a year now.
Before all that, late 60s, early 70s, you were with Pentangle, weren't you, and had quite a lot of success with them?
Yeah.
What happened to that?
It just run its course, I suppose. It lasted 7 years, which is quite long for...
Who were the other fellows in that, by the way, Pentangle? Just remind me.
John Renbourn was a guitarist, Danny Thompson, bass player, Terry Cox, the drummer, and Jack Nishi, who's on the latest album. She does a track for us on that.
Are they all doing their own thing separately nowadays?
Well, John's got his own band. I don't know what it's called, but I think it's just a John Renbourn band.
Yeah. So how often do you see these folks? Not that often, man.
Well, we all live in different parts of the country. Terry, the drummer, lives in Minorca, which is a strange...